Johnson, and welcome to the second episode of the Conscious Matrix. And so what we're going to be talking about in this particular episode is belief systems and polarity. So we're basically just continuing on from where we were in our very first episode that spoke about awakening. And in awakening we talked about how your realization was the trigger to bringing you into a whole new world, to understanding the broad range of how reality wanted to present itself to you. And how, very commonly, we may have other people within our lives who may not be able to resonate with those particular changes. They see everything that you're going through as a response to being crazy. So they think you're literally going crazy because you're taking a whole new route in regards to exploring a whole new theme of yourself that you are just starting to explore. And so we're going to look more into that particular journey in regards to how we're overcoming the idea of belief system and how we're overcoming polarizing situations. So again, if we're looking at belief, whenever you say the word belief or believe, you're basically talking about an idea of a faith, or the idea of a program. The whole idea about belief is that it really isn't yourself. It's something that you have adopted. So that belief itself is something that has been hard-coded into our minds. When we first come onto the planet, when we're first this adorable little bundle of joy, asleep in our mother's arms, there is nothing but the purity of innocence. There is nothing but the purity of love. And that, as time progresses, we begin an indoctrination cycle. And this comes from education, this comes from our parents, this comes from our friends, this comes from TV, from other media, etc. This is all part, in that sense, of how the program is attempting to get through, to sustain a hard-coded form of trait representing belief. That we have to remember to perform certain rituals. We have to be indoctrinated into certain types of morality. Everything but what is genuine to us in regards to what we wish to pursue, what we wish to become, what is the complement of essence to our own love, is literally being focused on. So it's all this particular programming, starting at infancy, moving into adolescence, continuing a lot deeper into becoming a teenager, moving into young adult, where everything really starts to become solidified. And it's really at the biggest challenge when we move into adulthood and we're attempting to dissect all of these particular belief systems that we have. And these belief systems, again, range from everything. That we need to go to bed at a certain time, we need to have a certain diet, we need to have the time of the morning to brush your teeth, the afternoon brush your teeth, evening brush your teeth, or that everything logical, everything rational is the only thing I'm willing to accept in reality. There's no way anything irrational can be explained or should be focused on because it doesn't make sense and it's really irrelevant in my reality. So all of these particular traits, all of these belief system factors are what we're creating in regards to the sense of polarity. That there's always going to be a positive side and a negative side. There's always going to be a good and there's always going to be an evil. There's always going to be a black and there's always going to be a white. And so we're completely in the point of meaning within our lives that reflect the idea of polarizing situations. We assign meaning to everything, no matter what it is. For the very first time that we're about to venture down a road for the very first time, and assumption kicks in. The ego is being bred in regards to the belief system structure. And saying, oh, you can't be serious, you're not actually going to go down that road, are you? Don't you see what's happened to other people? Don't you see what happens to them? Do you want to end up like them? Are you serious? You want to go down that particular avenue? You want to go down that career path? You want to move into traveling in that direction, etc., etc. And through assumption, we bury the opportunity. And that's really all that the universe represents. The universe births opportunity with us at every single given moment. And so here's the wide, expansive universe, and here's us, right here. And the universe is always going to be sending these opportunities to which we magnetize our energies to. Here's an opportunity for a job. Here's an opportunity to travel. Here's an opportunity to form a relationship. Here's a friendship. Here is a free parking space. Whatever it may be, these are all opportunities. But what we're doing is we're utilizing the belief system core that says, okay, no, 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 free parking space, no. I want it a little bit closer up to the store. And what we're doing is we're shutting all these down. We're not allowing opportunity to come forward. So here is the idea of belief contained within this core. And that here's us, and that our attention is focused completely on belief. And we're not allowing anything else to come through. We're not allowing any other particular type of experience, any other type of opportunity to come through. We're polarizing everything because the belief is the Lord and the Master. The belief is the core to my reality. And so I'm not going to allow anything else to come through. It's not relevant, it's not rational, it's not logical. It doesn't fit my capacity. So all of these arrows are representing opportunities. But we're singularly focused in regards to what is bringing about belief. The belief says that no, I don't want this job, I don't want this relationship, I don't want this career, I don't want this free parking space, I don't want any of that. I have to have it in a very, very strict sense. It has to make sense. It's got to be obvious, and if it's not obvious, there's no way I'm going to go for it. Not happening. So we shut ourselves down, and we continue to live inside a box. We live inside this itty-bitty little tiny core called belief. So what is it that we can do to advance past that state of belief? Well, if we see belief as this box right here, we're attempting to discover that we're not leaping outside the box. We're just allowing the walls to gradually fade away. If any time you attempt to leap through that box, to feel that you're going to jump over it, that box is still going to be with you. It's just going to reassemble itself because you have not acknowledged the form of why these walls here are formed. This is very similar to burying problems or attempting to escape problems simply because you just don't want to deal with it anymore. You just want to kind of sweep it under the rug. I don't want to have to deal with it. I don't want to have to look at myself. I don't want to look at that aspect of my being. So I'm just going to sweep it under the rug and I'm going to continue onwards with my life. But, so you start to do that. And you come down here and poof, 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 poof. The box returns. Reversionized in regards to another theme that you're looking to explore. Because you are attempting to run away from the box. You're going to leap over the top and you're going to try and escape. And those boxes' walls are just reforming themselves again, patternizing themselves, magnetizing themselves in regards to a congruency that's now acting as the new theme. So now you're back in a box again. So again, to advance past the box, you need to look at the walls. What do these walls represent? They represent a lack that you are feeding. You're feeding the lack. You're feeding the lack of focus within what can serve you, with what can greatly benefit you, because you only see the reality that you're experiencing in black and white. That's it. There's no color spectrum in between, because again, it's positive or it's negative, and that's it. Visit ConsciousMatrix.com today to experience our variety of services, from one-on-one private sessions with me, as well as body regeneration healing sessions, Akashic Record perspective sessions, online digital courses, a free online library of vast information, and much more. ConsciousMatrix.com, opening you to your universal potential. So how do we move into the whole understanding of looking at these walls and just allowing them to phase out so that we can advance? We look to unassign. We unassign the beliefs. If everything that represents a belief program, the core here, if that's the belief program, we need to uninstall that program. And the only way that you're going to do that is when you are acting beyond anything that represents a characteristic. You're no longer functioning in the point of saying that I can't do this, I can't move into that job, or I can't have that relationship, or I don't like that free parking space, because judgment, 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 condition, condition, condition. So you're looking to move into a malleability. Again, like the example in episode number 1, about the clay, that the clay itself can once again be bendable. It can once again be malleable. But you must unassign everything. You must unlearn yourself. You must go through an unlearning process. And that's what's very, very popular in the idea of the spiritual movement, of the New Age movement in that sense, is that a lot of people talk about positive energy. And yes, positive energy is indeed a very good thing. If you are, in that sense, bewildered or just completely overwhelmed with so much negative energy that represents these environments, these situations that are manifesting, then indeed, positive energy is a good thing to use. Now, positive energy simply serves itself as a counterbalance. That's the whole idea. If you have a scale here, okay, and that the negative portion of the scale is tipping, and the positive scale, in that sense, is way up in the air, then what you're doing is you're using positive reinforcement to bring the scale into an even balance. Now, what happens, for example, is if that scale keeps getting dumped with positive energy. So here's a scale, and now here's the negative energy, and here's the positive energy. Is that everything that represents the momentum of that positive energy is going to bring you out of balance as well too. So positive energy is not the absolute factor in regards to what you're experiencing through life. Again, it's used as a counterbalance. It's utilized in regards to the point of making the scale even. So when you have so much positive energy, you're so trusting of everybody, you just want to give and give and give and give and give, and you're just so, up in the air, and you're not grounding yourself. Well, what happens? People can take advantage of you. You become very naive, very gullible. Okay, this can even lead to an overwhelming state of cockiness. overwhelmingly cocky. And you're just not centered. Your whole world is lollipops and rainbows and unicorns and whiskers on kittens. And that's great, but again, you're missing the point in regards to being a part of this reality. It's about balance. So many ancient cultures, in regards to the essence of their teachings, have talked about the ability of achieving balance within your life. And so that your whole point in regards to belief and into polarity is to transcend it. You're looking to move past those ideas. You're not allowing the action itself to dictate everything as a reaction. So the action and the reaction itself are meant to be together in harmony. But the action, in that sense, does not dominate to the point of feeling that the emotions are taking over and the emotions are controlling my life. Or a situation is going to control my life, or a person is attempting to influence me and control my life. The action and reaction are truly just one event. And that you're working together in harmony where you are at the platform. You're on top, and you're looking down to where everything serves you. Your emotions, your experience, your expression. Everything really is together. And you're functioning in regards to an equality of harmony. So that there is positive and negative, but they represent a harmony. Your own energy field has a positive and a negative polarity, and that it's shifting all the time in regards to maintaining your connection, maintaining your continuity, functioning together in operation with this body, with this reality. This body simply is an interface. And so let's look a little bit deeper of how to unassign these meanings. So let's say one particular example relates to a relationship. Now this can truly be on anything. This can be a relationship between a mother and daughter, or a relationship in a romantic way, etc. And that here we have Sue, right here. It's a nice puffy hair. And here we have Bob, with just a few hairs. So there's Sue, and there's Bob. So we'll look at it in the idea of a romantic relationship. All right. So Sue herself really wants the ability to travel. She really wants to see the world. She wants to see everything that the world, is all about. She's really interested in other cultures. She has the money. She's saved up a lot of money in her savings account, and she's able to explore all these different places, and it's really, really exciting to her, and she can't wait to get started. Bob himself is the opposite. He doesn't like to travel. He likes to stay exactly where he is. He's a local guy. He wants to remain everywhere. And he's very, very paranoid about letting his wife go off to the world and wanting to explore it and wanting to live her dream. So there's a conflict here. It's a repelling nature where these energies are separating themselves because there can be no agreement, and everything in regards to what is really, really passionate to Sue just doesn't compute with Bob. Bob doesn't want this. He doesn't want his wife going anywhere. He's too paranoid of feeling that if she leaves him, she'll never come back. And no matter how much negotiating, blah, 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 that she has attempted to do with Bob, Bob won't let up. And there has been really horrible fights, and there's been terrible arguments. But being a married couple, they feel that they are still bonded together in wedlock and feeling that there's no obedience here. Sue is unable to live her dream, and Bob will not allow her to do it. Bob himself has no intention to discover his passions. His job is simply working in a cubicle, doing tech support. All right? And Sue really is just beyond herself. She spends nights crying. She really wants to be able to see the world. So what is it that Sue can do in this particular situation? She needs to see the truth. She needs to understand that there is not a compatibility between Bob and herself. And this can be very, very heartbreaking because they've been married for 20 years, they had 2 kids together, but the 2 of them just are as miserable as they can be. But they're together because of the belief in regards to having that ring on their finger, to remember the promise that they have given each other in regards to their vows. But what is it about the vows that they really remember? That they will love, honor, and cherish each other until death do they part, etc. But when Bob is not allowing Sue to explore her dreams, is that love and honoring and cherishing his partner? No, it's not. So again, we still hold ourselves together in regards to this indoctrination, in regards to a belief. We've signed a dotted line, and that if we dare trespass over that, well then you're going to be cast into the fiery pits of hell, and you're never going to be able to get back on your feet again. So this is where it is a decision time for Sue. And I've had clients like this who have had, some even worse situations than this really, where they're attempting to say that, I want to go, I want to explore the world. I have such a passion, I have such a dream, but if I deviate that, then my husband is going to be super angry and my family won't understand this, and Brad, what do I do? And I said, well, you have to make a choice. You can either stay exactly where you are and become very miserable, or you need to look deeper into what is being observed here, of what's happening in your life that's preventing you from living who you are. And at times this is where there needs to be that separation. There needs to be that removal between 2 people because they're no longer compatible. That's not to say that Bob and Sue at some time in their early life were highly compatible with each other. They were always wanted to go out and do things together and have exciting nights out, etc. That's great. But it's here and it's now. So, if there can be no negotiation in regards to a mutual respect of each other, there can be no vibrational synchronization. The reality simply is that the magnetics of each other are pulling each other apart. And that's exactly what's happening. And that's why there's so much turbulence. Because we want to try and just push these magnets so close together, but they're repelling each and every single time. You can't, you can't, you can't. That's the same with any particular type of situation where there is a high resistance. You want so much to make this work, but it just can't stay together and it snaps away. And that's the vibrational magnetism, to where a situation cannot align. And so people become stuck, they become miserable, they become horrified. They cannot live the life that they have dreamt of since they were a little kid, because they are attempting so hard to putting 2 magnets together that are always going to repel. You need to go with the flow. You need to move in regards to where intuition is telling you. Sue will always love Bob. There will always be that special place for him in her heart. But she cannot continue to feel like she's being enslaved in regards to marriage. And so she finally makes a decision. She unassigns a belief system within her mind and saying, I'm not going to stay here anymore. I need to go. We need to part ways. I want Bob to have the best life that he can have, but he needs to have it on his own. I need to go my way, and I want to have the best life that I can have, but I need to go on my own. And it's the same with a job. It's the same with a career. It's the same with any other particular type of situation where you know the magnets are always repelling, no matter how many times you try to put them together in different ways. It doesn't fit. And that's why we have many of these situations in our life. It's just the energy field here, where we're experiencing conflict. A person may feel that in a very, very positive way, something really good is happening, and here's the negative side over here. But as soon as I go into that really, really strong positive way, it shoots off over here in regards to negativity. It blows up in my face. Why is that? I'm using positive energy. Why isn't the positive energy working for me? Because you haven't resolved the issue. You cannot resolve an issue with positive and negative. You need to be right there. You need to be the observer. You need to observe through neutrality why these belief systems are there. You need to go deep inside yourself and discover, why am I continuing to propagate these particular belief systems within my life? Why am I playing the game of polarity? So again, like stated before, that the negative energy can in that sense be counterbalanced by the positive to bring it up into the balance point here. That's the point, because when you're counteracting that with positive energy and you're right here, you're in the area of neutrality. You're at the 0 point balance, and now you're able to take a look at these particular manifestations, these belief systems, and you're able to resolve them because you're looking at them objectively. You have no assigned meaning to them anymore. You're able to say it, put that right in front of your face and saying, no, that is no longer valuable to me. That is no longer valid to me in regards to how I see myself. I'm looking at that right in the face and I say, no thank you. It's time for you to go. You made that choice and you're taking action upon that decision, and now everything is changing. Now everything is transforming. Now you're able to move into a direction that is compatible with you because you've made that decision to move on and to advance, because you have unassigned that meaning and you are no longer looking at yourself in the premise of the ego. You're looking at yourself in the genuine article of authenticity.